Are the Brisbane Lions going back to back? We're going to have a look at all the details behind Brisbane Lions season 2025. It's their mid-season review. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another mid-season review coming your way today. It's the Brisbane Lions 2025 mid-season review. As each team gets to the bye, we are doing a mid-season review for each team. Having a look at how their season's going so far. A little player review, how each player from each team is going so far this year. All full rankings with the All Aussie Rules rating system. And we have a look towards the rest of 2025 and what we can expect to see from each team for the remainder. It's the final week of buys this weekend. We've finally made it through them, almost. So we're down to the last four. This is the fourth last team. So the rest of the AFL is already up on my YouTube channel. Go check them out. I don't think they've received as much attention as perhaps they deserve. I think they've been some good episodes. So go check them out. Pretty much most teams are up. By the end of this week, all 18 teams will be up. There's still a couple more to come over the next few days. Geelong's going to be up in the next couple. And then the remaining two, which is, I think, GWS and Essendon. So plenty of content always on the channel. Go check it out. There's also two podcasts that go live each week. One previewing the weekend's action coming up. One reviewing. There'll be AFLW content once that season kicks off, which is only just over a month away. So plenty of content on the YouTube channel. Go check out all the social medias. X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You name it, we've got it. Go check them all out. It's All Aussie Rules everywhere. Plenty of content every single day of the week. Let's jump into the Brisbane Lions 2025 and what we've seen so far from them this year. And this is how their season looks so far. It's looking pretty green, which is a positive thing for the Lions. Opening round ended up being a bye. It wasn't supposed to be a bye for the Lions, but obviously the weather up north was pretty wild that week, so that game got pushed back to round 3. They ended up starting their season officially in round 1 at the SCG against Sydney, and it was a 4-point win in the grand final rematch. Not as comfortable as they did it in the grand final, but once again the same result. Brisbane beating Sydney. Really good start to their season. West Coast round 2 at the Gabba wasn't the most impressive win of all time, just 19 points over a team that's only won one game through the first 15 weeks of the season, but it was a win nonetheless. Round 3 they took on Geelong, which was the round 1, or the opening round game, that got delayed. Ended up being another wet day, which is funny in a weird sort of way. Brisbane held on, won it by 9 points. Richmond, round 4 at the MCG, took care of them by 28 points. Once again, one of the low-ranked teams. Weren't ultra impressive, the Lions, but they got the job done. Round 5 was Gather Round, played at Norwood Oval against Western Bulldogs. Beat them by 21 points. So after 5 rounds, things were looking really, really good. 5-0, no complaints. Round 6 came along, and it was a short 5-day break for the Lions, and maybe that's what brought them undone in this game, because they went down to Collingwood by 52 points. Granted, Collingwood are sitting top of the ladder right now, so it's not like it was a bad team to lose to, but at the same time, certainly had a 5-day break into that. St Kilda in round 7, they bounced back with a comfortable 45-point win, their biggest win of the season. So far, even up until the current point of the season, that is their biggest win. Round 8 was the Gold Coast at the Gabba, and they continued their recent form over the Suns by beating them by 17 points. And then the wheels started to wobble. I won't say they fell off, but there was certainly some wobblage over the next 5 or 6 weeks. North Melbourne down in Hobart, and it was a draw. Really disappointing result for the Lions, that one. Round 10, Melbourne at the Gabba. This was a really bad one as well. 11-point loss at home to a team in the bottom 6. Not great result there. But then they got one that they perhaps weren't expected to win when they went down to the MCG and played the Hawks. Beat them by 33 points. Without a doubt their best result of the season so far up to that point. Probably the best they've played this season as well. after 15 rounds. Round 12 was Essendon. They dominated them in the first quarter, but then kind of took the foot off the pedal, or the Bombers just played better. Not sure. But they only won by 18 points in the end, which isn't the end of the world, but it's certainly not the best performance they've ever done. Round 13 was Adelaide in Adelaide Oval when they let this one slip with some poor kicking at goal, especially in that last quarter. Lost it by 5. Round 14, another loss at the Gabba. Their third loss at the Gabba this season. So 3 out of their 4 losses this year so far have been at what used to be their fortress. They lost a few games there last season as well, so it's not the end of the world. But the year before, they were pretty much unbeatable up there. So crazy times. So they lost to the Giants by 11 points. They just couldn't stop the key forwards of GWS, and Jesse Hogan and Cadman just tore them apart. Round 15 was Geelong, and they got the 41-point win down at GMHBA Stadium, which on paper is probably as good, if not better, win than the Hawthorn one. But I think they got lucky in this one in that Geelong kicked really poorly in front of goal. I know you make your own luck in a way, but that was a major reason why Geelong struggled so much in this, was because they just could not kick a goal. And Brisbane won by 41 points. That has them sitting 15 matches into the season, 10 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. Pretty low percentage, in all honesty, 113.4. But when you consider what they did in the back half of last year, the fact that they've already got 10 wins this year, if they can show that sort of last year's back half of the season form, they will finish really high on the ladder. They're currently second on the ladder. Record against the top 8, 4 wins, 3 losses. So their 3 losses, obviously, Collingwood, Adelaide, GWS. Their 4 wins, Geelong twice, Hawthorn once, and the Western Bulldogs. So some pretty solid wins in there. Geelong, Hawthorn, both in Melbourne. Just probably a touch disappointing that they've lost 3 games at the Gabba so far this year. Record against the bottom 10, once again, pretty solid. 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. That 1 loss to Melbourne at home, that's probably their worst result of the year. And then the draw with North Melbourne down in Hobart. That's where they sit after 15 rounds. Obviously, they have the bye this week, so most other teams catch up to them on games this week. So things can potentially change a little bit, but I don't think they can. Well, I mean, they're going to be at least a game and a half behind Collingwood, depending on Collingwood's result this weekend. Other than that, nobody else can catch them this week because Geelong are the team behind them and they're on the same amount of games and got the bye this week. But potentially a couple teams will be within half a game of them after this round. There's a good chance that we're going to have perhaps Geelong, Adelaide, Hawthorn, maybe even Fremantle as well, all on 40 points, so half a game behind Brisbane. It's getting really tight and congested in that sort of area of the ladder, so every win is very important at this stage of the year because you're just banking wins that will make it slightly easier come the end of the year. And that's what Collingwood have been doing recently, and maybe some other teams have been slightly struggling at. Like Brisbane have lost 2 of their last 5. Geelong lost last week. Adelaide lost 2 of their last 5. Hawthorn have lost 3 of their last 5. So it's just like a few teams just dropping a few games here and there, which you forgive completely, but at the same time, like, you need to be banking these wins right now. We look at some of the key stats for the Lions. Offensively, scoring-wise, they're the 6th best in the competition. Defensively, they're 7th. So pretty good numbers across the board. As you would expect, they're one of the older, more experienced teams in the competition. I think they're 3rd, which is what you kind of expect of a team that's played in the last 2 grand finals. They do have some really good young players coming through. They do have some senior players as well. Once again, similar story to this time last year. I haven't gone back and watched that video recently, but I did a mid-season review last year on the channel, and it was all about the fact that Brisbane just were failing to execute in the forward half. Their dominance out of the middle and around the ground at getting the ball forward was really, really good, but they just weren't very efficient at turning it into goals. And that's the same case this year. A lot of it has to do with accuracy. They're the 13th lowest, or 13th best in terms of accuracy in the competition, which is by far the lowest of any team in the top 9 in the AFL right now. So of the 9 teams that you would consider possibly contenders right now, they are, the lowest. So that's not great. You need good accuracy, as everybody says every week. Good kicking at goal is good football, and at the moment Brisbane may be letting themselves down there. However, where they make up for that is their transition game. Their transition from the back half and the back 50 is the best in the competition. Their numbers are outstanding, and have been pretty much all season long. So that has been the area where they're really good at moving the ball around the ground and converting it into shots at goal mainly and scores. Obviously, their accuracy does let them down at times. We'll jump into the player-by-player analysis as we do for each team, and we'll start with the back line. Little bit of an explanation on this page and the following few pages. We give an All Aussie Rules rating to every single player, every single game, and a position, obviously, for that game as well. That collates into their average for the year. If they play less than 50% game time in a game, that game will not count towards their rating. So then we can put them into position, whatever position they play the most. And then from that spot, we give them the class rating. So top 10% of each position is elite. 10 to 25% is top class. 25 to 40 is above average. 40% to 60% is average. 60 down to 100% is below average. And then everyone that's played less than 5 games so far this year, that's 5 games of at least 50% game time, is currently sitting in the unranked category. So there's a few players here and there throughout the Brisbane lineup that are unranked, and we'll go through every single player. Let's start with the key defenders. Here, obviously, their number one key defender over the last 4 or 5 years has been Harris Andrews. 15 matches, rating of 46.67, really good, above average. 14th best key defender so far this year. I think he's certainly capable of slightly higher than that. He's certainly capable of going into that elite range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that, although the defence stocks at the moment in Brisbane are changing a little bit because Jack Payne is out injured. He's played 13 games. He's out for the rest. He rated average 31st best. So he's pretty solid as that second key defender. Certainly not in the range of the top ones at the moment, but certainly a capable second. And Ryan Lester, he's put together a good season. His rating is below average, but as that third key defender, he's the least offensive of the three, but he still plays his role, does a decent job, and they have good stocks in those three. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, things are going to have to change for them with Payne out, but we'll see how they counteract that over after the bye and in the following weeks. General defenders, they have some real quality here. You look at the top 3 names straight away, and they're all really good. Chuck in Coleman, who's only played 1 game, and they have some really good running general defenders. So Dane Zorko's been outstanding this season. He was really good last year. He's probably very similar levels again this year. He's rated as elite, 5th best general defender in the competition. Jasper Fletcher's probably the biggest improver here. He's had a really good season. Currently top class, 24th best general defender. He's been outstanding. Darcy Wilmot's had a really great season as well. 32nd best general defender. Then you jump down to Coleman, who's obviously only played the 1 game, so he is unranked. He is certainly somebody that, from what we've seen so far in his career, is certainly going to be capable of moving into that above average, maybe even top class categories. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in either of those. That will be a massive priority for them, is getting him fit and get back to what was his best, which, in all honesty, his best game that we've ever probably seen him play was 2023 Grand Final against Collingwood. So we might see him back to that, hopefully, for Brisbane's sake and for his sake. Noah Answorth has been important for them. 15 games below average rating, but just as that cover for the current injured stocks back there, not too bad. Brandon Starcevic, he's only played the 3 games, currently unranked, doesn't have a high rating from those games. Probably more of a lockdown defender than a lot of the others on this list, but maybe a little bit more pressure on him depending what they do with the Jack Payne situation. So that's their back line. Some really good class, really good strength across the ground, I think, in the back line stocks at least. We jump into the forward line. Key forwards for the Lions. Their best key forward so far this season, Logan Morris, no doubt about it. 20 years old, he is going to be an absolute gun. His last 2 weeks have been outstanding, kicking 5 goals both of those weeks. Currently rates above average, 19th best key forward in the competition. I think by the end of the season, if he continues to improve or even semi-play as good as he has over the last couple of weeks, we could well see him pushing towards the top 15, maybe even towards the top 10 key forwards in the competition. He's certainly someone that in the coming years is going to be an absolute star from what I've seen. Darcy Gardner only played the 6 games, been pretty solid in them, 35th best key forward. So him as your second or third key forward is not too bad. The issue here is Eric Hipwood at the moment, 15 matches, below average, 38th best key forward. He, in all honesty, should be their number 1 key forward. He's their most senior key forward in terms of consistently playing as a key forward over years and years, as a second key forward to who retired, Joe Danaher. Jeez. So he's had plenty of experience as that number 2 key forward. He should have been probably stepping up, but he really hasn't done that this year, and kind of struggled a little bit. But thankfully for him, Logan Morris has gone straight to number 1 and really playing a really good role. Sam Day's played 9 games, backup rucks, full forward sort of role, been solid without being outstanding. I think Darcy Gardner's been a much better fit so far from in that role. General forwards, they have quite a few here. Cam Rayner's probably been the best. He does rotate through the midfield the most, so he probably gets the most opportunity at getting plenty of ball. But played 15 games, rated top class, 19th best in the competition as a general forward. James Tunstall, he's only played the 2 games, been unranked so far, but pretty solid in those 2 games. Callum Archie, after a great final series last year, probably not going at quite the same level right now, but he showed last year the talent he has, so I fully expect to see that improve in the back half of this year. Charlie Cameron, his last couple of years have certainly been a lot quieter. Currently rates below average as he did last year for most of the season, so that might be where he's at the moment. Different sort of roles at times for him. Connor McKenna, he's unranked from his 4 games. Kyle Lohman's played 10. He's one of the lower ranked general forwards in the competition. He's not having a great season. Another player that had a really good end to his year last year. Hasn't put it together so far this year much. He has had multiple injuries though. And Will McLaughlin has played the 5 matches and currently unranked. Maybe we'll see him play a little bit more in the future years than this year as a someone that will rank slightly better than this year, I think. In the midfield, they only have the 4 main inside mids, but aren't they an absolute dominant 4? So Hugh McCluggage is having probably his best season of his career, 7th best inside mid in the competition, rates elite. He's been absolutely outstanding across the year, had a couple quiet weeks here and there, but overall has been insane. Josh Dunkley's having a really good year, top class rated, really good year, slightly ahead of Will Ashcroft, who's just in the above average category, 25th best inside mid. He's having a great year as well. Lockie Neal, he's generally probably the number 1 midfielder, but right now he doesn't need to be that for them because they have so many good inside mids that he can play really good football, above average still, but not need to carry the load because they've got 3 other absolute guns in there. Outside mids, Zach Bailey's having an outstanding season, 5th best outside mid in the comp so far. Jared Berry, his numbers are really good as well. He's in that top class range. Levi Ashcroft, obviously first season this year. He's played all 15 games, rates average, playing pretty good football as a first year player, and I think we'll see him only improve over coming years. What we see this year will not be the limit for him. Bruce Revel, he's played the 5 games, not outstanding from what we've seen this year. He probably hasn't improved much on what his numbers were showing last year. And then in the ruck, Oscar McInerney's only played the 8 games, rated below average at 17th best ruckman. And in the rest of the season and sometimes as a backup ruckman, Darcy Fort has been there. And his numbers are as good as Oscar McInerney, so that's an interesting one. Obviously came into the grand final side last year, but as you can see, it certainly hasn't. He's still certainly capable of carrying that load as well as Oscar McInerney is from what I can see of the numbers. Alrighty, moving on to our positional spread of rated players, I guess, for each position. Just gives us a little indication of where their class is, where they're lacking players so far this season. Most teams have about 2.5 elite players on average, so Brisbane are right at that number. Top class, once again, slightly above than the AFL average there. So they do have some good numbers across the board, so you're looking at a total of 15 players in that average or above categories for Brisbane. So a fair chunk of their team is in average or above so far this year. Key defenders at the moment, no elite or top class, but they do have 2 in average or better. The issue is 1 is out for the season. General defenders, they have that class at the top. 3 that are above average or better, so that's really good. And one of those unranked players is certainly capable, based on what we've seen, to be in those categories as well. Key forwards, I think Logan Morris will only improve from where he is at above average. Maybe needs some more support down there as a key forward. General forwards, only the 1 in top class and 1 in average at the moment. So once again, between Archie, Charlie Cameron, Kai Lohman, you'd think they have enough class up there to have at least 3 in average or better. So I think we'll see improvements from them. As I said, their accuracy is pretty poor. Their forward efficiency is not outstanding. I think if they can get those sort of areas under control, these general forwards are the ones that will be key to that. Inside mids, arguably best in the competition. Should do a deep dive into that one day. But 4 in the above average or better categories. So 1 elite, 1 top class, and 2 above average. That's just absolutely outstanding inside mid presence that they have. Chuck in the fact that they have other players like Cam Rayner, Levi Ashcroft, other players roll through this inside midfield role at times as well. They just are absolutely stacked in that area of the ground. Outside mids, 1 elite, 1 top class, 1 average. So that's more than enough there as well. Ruckman, both below average so far this year. So that's probably their biggest sticking point at the moment, is maybe not having an elite ruckman. It's not the be-all and end-all of AFL. They won the premiership last year with the exact same ruck combination. It's maybe not the end of the world, but that is probably their weakest area of the ground is their ruckman at the moment, maybe. Moving on to the rest of 2025, what they have to come. To come up with this expected win percentage, we just use the ELO rating system that we have here at All Aussie Rules. It's not perfect, but it just gives us a little indication on current form who should be winning. That gives us an expected total wins and an expected ladder position at the end of the season. So round 16 is obviously this weekend. They have the bye. Round 17, they come out of the bye, hosting Port Adelaide at the Gabba. Maybe not a bad one for them straight out of the bye. Expected win percentage suggests they should win it. Carlton at Marvel Stadium. That will be tougher than it looks on paper right now. Carlton not playing the best football, but I would expect that won't be a walk in the park. Round 19 is Western Bulldogs at the Gabba. That will be a tough one, I think. Bulldogs do travel quite well, especially towards Sydney. over the last couple of years, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Doggies take it right up to Brisbane at the Gabba. Round 20 is the Gold Coast at People First Stadium. That will be an interesting game, important game, I reckon, for both teams in their quest for top 4, maybe. Round 21 is Collingwood at the MCG. That looks like their toughest game for the rest of the season. Round 22 is Sydney at the Gabba. Round 23, Fremantle at Optus Stadium. That is also a really tough one. And then round 24 is Hawthorn at the Gabba. So 5 of their last 6 matches are against teams currently in that finals race. In the top 9 teams, 5 out of their last 6 are against them. And the one that's not is Sydney, who is currently 2 games out of the 8, but starting to look a little bit better with 2 wins in a row. So maybe, just maybe, all 6 of those last weeks will be against teams competitive. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. Depends which way you look at it, really, because every team kind of is different. It can be good to get a really good test going into finals. Maybe it's better to not have the hard tests and get your bodies through the games a little better. Who knows? But we'll certainly know how well Brisbane are playing heading into finals, because they're going to have played most of their competitors in the final series in the 6 weeks heading into finals. So that is at least one thing we'll get there. Calculating all the expected win percentages gives Brisbane a total expected win total of 15.58, which would have them sitting 3rd on the ladder behind Collingwood and Geelong. So potentially a qualifying final at the MCG against Geelong, or it might be at GMHBA, don't know, but it'd be a replay of last year's prelim final. Obviously, those 2 teams met last year in the prelim, and it was an absolute cracker where Brisbane won by 10 points. So that shapes up as a good little matchup if that is what happens. Who knows if it will or won't. A lot of things to happen between now and then, but it is a possibility. Brisbane Lions, I think, are going really well. They just need to tidy up their conversion, their accuracy, and their forward 50 efficiency, and they would be as hotly liked in the premiership race as Collingwood, maybe even ahead of them. So I think we've seen a couple little falters from them throughout the year, nothing too serious. I have high hopes that Brisbane will be very competitive late into September this year. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Where will Brisbane finish this season? Are they destined for back-to-back titles? Don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Quick, hit it. Make sure you come back. Go check out all the rest of the videos. Check out the podcast. All of that stuff. Plenty of football content every single week here at All Aussie Rules. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you on the next one.